Hello, fifth grade boys and girls. We're going to take a look at what happens when you are in Antarctica and you have all these wonderful, big, cold glaciers that you can see as you're traveling. And we know that glaciers are exposed to the weather, they're exposed to sun, wind, cold, shade. And so we're going to take a look at what happens. So we have ice cubes to represent glaciers. And the first ice cube, number one, is how a glacier would melt in the sun. So we put an ice cube out in the sun, and this is a time-lapse video of the ice cube melting. And this particular ice cube, it took 19 minutes for it to melt in the sun, which is what would happen to a glacier if a glacier was in the sun. Now, we also know in Antarctica that there are plenty of winds, and sometimes you get some warm winds blowing. And so for number two, we used a hair dryer to represent warm winds. And the hair dryer only took 3 minutes to melt the ice cube. Now, we also know that there's lots of clouds and shade in Antarctica. And so for number three, we put an ice cube in the shade and we watched how long it took to melt, and this happened to be the longest of all of what we tried. The ice cube took 34 minutes to melt in the shade, and this is what would happen to a glacier as it would slowly melt. And lastly, we wanted to look at fresh water versus salt water, which is found in the ocean. And so on the left, you see a freshwater cup with an ice cube in it, and on the right, you see a saltwater cup with ice cube in it, with an ice cube in it. And as you can see, if you see the ice cubes floating in the top left of the cups, the freshwater one is now completely dissolved. It melted first, and the saltwater one is still up there. It's still going, and eventually the saltwater one disappears.